Good evening, Ronnie Huxford, the one and only drummer of Those Damn Crows.
It's a Spiller.
Welcome to Metal Planet Music, and thanks for taking the time to chat to us, bud.
Mate, anytime. Anytime. You guys are great with us. So thank you very much for having me.
Bless you. It's 2023. I mean, there's so much to reflect upon. Where do we start? I suppose, you look back, the release of the album.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, what a year. What an absolute blinder of a year. The album was exciting. We couldn't wait for everybody to hear it. Then it got released. Then everybody got behind it, and we got to number 3 in the UK charts, which was phenomenal.
Absolutely.
And then to top that off, which meant a lot to us, was the tour sold out as well. So I think to have everything in place, a top 10 record or a top 5 now, and then a sold out tour is exactly what you need for your career,
Yeah.
So
I mean, the perfect springboard for what's elapsed since, the tours with the Goo Goo Dolls, Hollywood Vampires must have been a massive thing for you guys.
yeah, I mean, it's insane, mate, because I think me and the boys were talking about it the other day. It seems like the Goo Goo Dolls. So we're on about the album. The album seems so long ago.
Yeah.
And I think, if I'm absolutely honest, and we were chatting about this in the HQ the other day, it's the first record where we feel, come this winter, it would have had a fair treat in, and you know the history of the band. So, when you go back to Murder and the Motive, it was our kind of leap, for everybody to kind of know the band. Then we went in and done Point No Return, and the world, well, everybody went through the same thing, and we don't feel that had a fair release, and so we kept kind of grinding at that one, and kept trying to get the gig's worth out of it. We didn't feel enough people kind of heard it live. With this record, we couldn't be more happier, mate. I think it's genuinely the first record we've done where it's like everything is going in the right direction.
For sure.
Yeah, it's what the bands need. Any band, you need to be kind of writing, recording, and then completely gigging your record till your heart's content, where
Absolutely.
you feel like everybody's had their money's worth out of it as well.
Yeah.
All the punters, so they've seen every kind of dynamic. And I feel when we get to the tour in September, October, we would have pretty much played everything off the record, and everybody will be super happy to sign it off, and let's get on to album number 4.
Because I don't think anyone would have foreseen that Rock and Roll Ain't Dead would have ever been anything other than the closing track.
Yeah. I think that's the thing when you're writing, you have your idea what's gonna kind of strike, and then you guys have your idea of what's gonna work, So certain songs we have a feeling of what we'd like to do live. So it's always the kind of aspect of you're writing it, but you're already thinking ahead what the live version's going to sound like. And I do feel that we are very much that. I feel that we're a part A, part B band. So you listen to us on record, you get that version, and then you listen to us part B, and that's what we bring live.
It's the live impact. And that closing track now, See You Again, that kind of was written to that end, wasn't it?
I mean, spoken. I know we were jamming it. Shane came up with the riff because he picked up the guitar and stuff, and we were jamming in during COVID. It was during that whole Rock Plast and Planet Rock, and we were up in Birmingham, and he just kept playing it. It was really hooky, and he was singing the melody, and it kind of developed from there. And yet again, I don't think that was the immediate thought of, this is going to close the set or anything. It just developed and developed. And by the time we did Inhale Exhale and demoed it, and then it got to the album version, it was the case of, I think a few people saying on the fan page as well, they've got to end the set with that. And it did seem right. Because the thing is, even though it's got the name See You Again and the meaning behind it and everything, sometimes an end song, if it hasn't got that impact that you need, but this one really has. It's got the sing along.
It certainly has.
It gives, and what we're loving at the moment, it's got that real vibe where we we sometimes leave the stage and we can still hear people exiting the venues. They were doing it in Europe as well, which is cool. And they're singing not necessarily the hook line, the actual lyrics. They're singing the melody line to it as well.
Yeah.
The woes, which is that's a magical thing, that is, like, you know. So
I think we said this more or less the first time we met back in, oh God, January 17, I think it was.
yeah,
And
yeah.
we'd just seen you blow apart the intro stage at Butlin's Giants of Rock. And it was, wow, you know, you realise you got a room of 400 or 500 people singing your songs back to you. Majority of us hadn't seen you before.
Yeah, it's I don't know. It's just always been the way from the start, from early demos to right up to the new vision of the band. It's melody wins.
Yeah.
And like, Shane's a great songwriter because of how he I've learned more of how he writes the lyrics and stuff as well, which is really, really super clever. So you can perceive it in so many different ways. Like, you might listen
Absolutely.
to it and have
Yeah.
your own ideals of what the song's about.
Yeah.
And I really like that. That's something that I've got majorly into in the last couple of years, and trying to kind of study that way. But the one winner more than anything, you can be as clever as you want writing, is it still has the hook, it still has the sing along, it still has
Yeah.
melodies, it still has, and we've always been like that, to be honest. In school, we don't really like bands without melody. I think that's kind of the traditional rock and roll way, whether it's the Beatles, the Stones, AC/DC, Aerosmith. You can go through all the classic bands right up to Shinedown now, like, you know, and if you haven't got a killer hook, people will get lost, like, you know.
Yeah. You need that infection, that contagion almost.
Yeah, definitely. You need that takeaway, like, you know. I love Foo Fighters, and I feel some people like them, some people don't. You know, it's like other bands, but for me, I go to listen to the hits, like, you know. I go to
Yeah.
listen to the songs that I can sing along to, and yet again leave a stadium singing their song, like, you know.
Indeed.
So
It's songs that everyday folk, people like you and I, and people watching this video can relate to, in, like you say, in so many different ways. And it's kind of like a multifaceted gem, I guess. You can look at it from different angles.
absolutely. I mean, just looking at the bands we've played with now, whether it be Hollywood Vampires, I know they got their own songs, they play a lot of covers and that, but even the covers they play, I mean, Joe Perry, they play Aerosmith, you know, so
Yeah.
you're gonna pull out the hits. Like, if you've got them
Oh.
in your arsenal, you're gonna pull them out. And then you got Goo Goo Dolls with Iris. Their songs, it was incredible to, like, to hear the impact that one song can have, for example, and that takeaway, like we just said, then the go home. So yeah, this is something that I think we're immensely proud of. We're 3 albums in, and long may it continue. The fourth
Yeah.
record, you know, it's going to be the same. It might evolve, might change slightly. A few people said that about this record, or sounds a bit different, sounds a bit darker in places, but I don't think you can be a band. There are bands that can do it and make a great career out of it for 30, 40, 50 years. But I think we're going to always write what we feel is right. And hopefully everybody else enjoys that. But if we leave a room, you know, buzzing and excited to show everybody, then, you know, that's what's important. That should be any band that you follow,
Oh,
really.
without a shadow. I think that's the bottom line, the very bottom line. It's entertainment.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
You know, we watched you from the side of the field at Steelhouse just a couple of week and a half ago, and there's like 5,000-6,000 people absolutely captivated, enthralled. And
yeah, we were blown over, Gary. I mean, Steelhouse this year meant a lot more than it could have ever, because we've had such an incredible summer. And it really did feel like we've left home now for a while, which was cool and special for the band, because you're forming new relationships in Europe and you're making that family bigger, which is what it's all about.
for sure.
And then to return home, it really did feel really special. And it felt like we leveled up. It felt like we've learned a lot off the touring. We've learned a lot off the record. We've learned a lot just being around each other now for nearly 10 years, like, you know.
I think
so
we had a sense of one chapter closing when you guys sold out Swansea Arena earlier in the year. Another door opened. and you went through into the Goo Goo Dolls, Hollywood Vampires, kind of Steelhouse kind of wraps up that summer for you, doesn't it?
Yeah, we said that along the way as well. Steelhouse was always the pinpoint. It was always the end of what was hopefully going to be a special summer, which it ended up being. And that was always going to be the goal, and it delivered. And Steelhouse delivered. I think it was the best-selling day. So we had all the stats backs. We were blown away, like, you know, because you're with mighty company on that bill. You know, you got your Airborns, you got your Blackstone Cherries, Elegant Weapons. Do you know what I mean? So it's not like,
you're there on merit.
Yeah.
Thoroughly,
And that special guest spot. I mean, people have said it for a couple of years now, oh, we should be headlining and stuff. But I think after that, that's it. There's only one position that we can do in that festival now, like, so.
A lot of people will shoot me down for this and say, Garrett, you're biased, but you were band of the weekend.
Oh man, that means a lot, mate, because you're always straight as well. I'll say that's not, you're always straight and you're honest. And but I do feel, like I said, the work is being there. Like, it's we're trying to take what we can from those tours. We were lucky enough to get that Hollywood Vampires tour, and when you get that opportunity, you have to learn as much as you can in such a short space of time.
Yeah.
So we learn from their crew and we learn from them. And then how can we deliver that in our show? And the same with the Goo Goo Dolls. We learn from them and their production, and how can we take that to our show?
Take all the best bits that suit you as a quintet forward.
Absolutely. And how do you keep leveling up? That's the most important thing, I think, with any band.
Sure.
And we're always thinking, how can we be better? We always think of the Crow family first, of like, when we're writing a set or when we're developing the headline show now, we're always thinking of, what haven't we done? What haven't they heard? And I think you've picked up on that over the years, whether we've slipped a small snippet of a cover. We've never actually done, I don't think we've done full covers. We've just done little snippets. Where it's a tease it's a tease within the song, like, you know what I mean? Or something like that. But it makes the set a little bit fresher. It gives that surprise factor, and people think, well, I'm not just coming to watch a band that sound like the record, like, I'm watching a band that
it's not about going through the motions. Yes, use backing tapes, but not to the point of becoming sterile. It's an enhancement rather than a propping up aid.
For sure. We've always had that. I mean, we've started using tracks, but it's because I think most bands will tell you can't afford to take an orchestra on stage every night. Like, do you know what I mean? It's,
precisely, unless you're the Who.
It's ridiculous. And the problem is, with some of the tracks that we've been doing lately, the production on them are so fantastic that when you do try the raw version, it just doesn't serve it its justice. Like, and the song should win. Like, it's always the song that wins. So we've got that beautiful balance. I think other bands do it sweetly as well. Like, yet again, we've learned from like Alter Bridge and other people that we've been around, and you take the advice and knowledge is power, like, so and I think that's how you evolve without it becoming too sterile,
So absolutely, because you don't want to become reliant to the point that you've got no backup. Should that backing tape fail, you've got to have a plan B, C. And we know that, having seen you guys play the Patriot, Hangar 18, and countless other clubs, you can play in the raw.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's what we grew up on. You know what I mean? So I think it's just we're seemingly like we're reaching our comfort where it's the big stages. A lot of people who've been behind the band from day one have always said the big stage is where we belong. The show belongs on a big stage,
without a shadow.
So I think what we need to do is make sure we utilize everything that big stage can offer, like, and yet again, how can we make it bigger? How can we make the event bigger? How can we make the experience the best it can be?
A production, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, when we did Swansea Arena, that was a step up. So we started using like the kabuki, nice big video intros and stuff. And just utilizing what we had there and what we could do. And then Steelhouse, we weren't bad special guests, and we brought like all the flames and the sparks, and Yeah, just visually, it makes a difference to the
Yeah,
show and the right spots, and gives that wow moment and stuff. And I think that's just something that you develop as an artist, and you move it forward, and how to make that show look bigger,
yeah,
because that's what it's all about. Especially when you're headlining, there's a lot of money on the line from a band paying out, and there's a lot of money on the line from the person buying the ticket. So you want to make
yeah.
sure everybody leaves happy. We've done everything we can to make it the best show, and the person enjoys that show for what it was,
Yeah. Um, just taking a slight diversion, I understand there could be a band name change coming up end of the month.
Oh, is it?
Something about ravens.
Yeah, there'd be definitely no band name change, but yeah, definitely they'll be more they'll be changing their name before we change ours. But
Yeah,
yeah, no, we yet again, like I said, we've been together nearly 10 years. There's no secret we haven't played our hometown. We haven't played our there's no music venue at the moment in Bridgend. We've always had our eyes set on giving back to the community. We got awarded during COVID because of Crowcast
yeah, for
by the
sure.
mayor, for because there's a lot of people. Obviously, we helped through dark times, and that was noticed through the community, which is fantastic. And I think we'll always remain true to where we live
Yeah,
and where we grew up, and a town which gave so many bands opportunities because of their music venues, and sadly there's not one of them now, mate, that I can sit here
no,
and tell you this open, and this is before the days of like a Hobos. These were the Jaggers, they were the welcome to town, they were the Wreck even at one point, which is now the Halo Sports Centre or whatever it is. Aston's, there was so many music venues just in Bridgend where live music, and you had a chance to getting a band with your mates to a jam night,
yeah,
whether it be in Monroe's or used to be called the York. It's just so many music venues, and sadly they've all gone. So we're trying to give back as much as we can and do everything right for us as well. So our local did sadly become like, Phil in Cardiff, and Rob's
yeah,
been absolutely amazing with us, and we've shown him the support back yet again through COVID, and we did the castle,
yeah, yeah,
and the Ravens is just yet again another way to partner up with the community. We're going to do something special down there. We're going to do like an acoustic performance, which will be great. We'll hang out with everybody. Anybody who really came to the Temby Day out when we did that last year,
yeah,
it'll be like those vibes. A lot of the Crow family loved the fact that we were just relaxed, and we're having beers with everybody, and the fact that they're going to reveal their new kit, and it will be us on the front.
nice.
So for any rugby fan, that's going to be a special moment as well. The fact that we're actually, we're going to be on I think it's the away shirt, if I'm right, but will be the name on their away shirt, So it is a lovely partnership.
Yeah,
There'll be a special shirt between the two brands, to whatever you want to call it, but is definitely a partnership between us and the town at the moment, which is special. And it's just getting the council now on board, and hopefully we can look to do something else in the near future, which I hope is going to be the plan.
yeah. Because it's
So
crazy. This is about as near as you're going to get to a homecoming gig, isn't it?
it is at the moment, but
Yeah,
being Crows, we're always working on our next special event. We're loving the fact of, I think we've done like your Chepstow Castles, we've done Cardiff Castle, we did the Temby, which not a lot of bands have done down that way, and
yeah,
it worked out. So we're always looking at these events, I call them. They're like special one-off gigs, and I think if everything marries in the future, who knows, in it, So this is just a nice bridgeway. It's a nice kind of, like I said, partnership. It's a give back to the town. The tickets have gone already, which is phenomenal. I think we're seeing if we can make more available, but like anything, it's licensing, policing, and stuff. So we got to be
yeah,
careful
for
with
sure.
that. But we like to give back. Like I said, we did our beer in Bridgend as well with
Yeah,
Dogs Brewery, Dogs Window, and then it was the case of we've done our coffee with Durstons. So we always try to keep
yeah,
it Welsh, keep it local, keep trying to help other people as well,
yeah. I think the
So
chili sauce was that Welsh as well.
yeah, Chili of the
Yeah,
Valley. So it is. it doesn't just benefit us, it's trying to kind of help other people as well, like, you know. So Tenby as well, that was Welsh, so we worked with Tenby Brewery. But yeah, Dog's Window was the start, I think, when we did that through COVID. And Lee's going on now to strength to strength as well, like, you know. So
that's awesome. And I don't think, you know, knowing you guys, I'll put good money on you'll never forget your roots, Bridgend, the Valley.
no, and we've said it like many times on like Crowcast and stuff. This is where we grew up. This is where, like, you know, where we kind of learned the ways, if that makes sense, because there were jam nights. There were jam nights several nights a week, whether it be in Bridgend and Puthcall. We still keep in touch with a lot of the older rockers who kind of advised us what to do and to go up to London, which we started doing at 16 years of age. And we were like renting buses locally and selling a ticket to the gig and to London as well. So it was kind of a double. So it'd be like, do you want a day trip to London and you get to see us as well? Like, you know, and we'd sell like 52-seater coaches. And just got out of Wales because it was, you know, it was hard to get labels to come back down here, like, you know. So we always had that mentality from a young age, and we owe Bridgend that, because, like I said, if it wasn't through the venues and the people putting on those jam nights, that's where we kind of learned our craft and watched other people and developed from there, like, you know.
Yeah, I mean, you're talking of fourth call. That just nudged me memory. Shane's announcement at Steelhouse, headliners at Winter's End next February.
Yes, mate. I mean, yet again, Planet Rock, another massive supporter of those damn Crows.
Yeah.
And it was the case of how nice it is to give back again and work with those guys, because, you know, they explained the bill. Now the bill is out, which is obviously Wagon, Stonebroken, and us.
Yeah.
Planet Rock gave all three bands a chance, and we've all kicked on from the chances that they've given. So it's nice to kind of go full circle, and it's going to be in Puthcall as well, where when we last did Winter's End, I can't remember where it was, if I'm honest. I knew it was up country. I want to say Poole for some reason. I don't know why that's just come to my head, but wherever the last location was,
I think it was somewhere South Dorset, Weymouth, Poole Way.
Yeah. We will have to look into that just so we get it right.
Yeah.
But yeah, I remember we had a slot, and Temperance Movement were headlining, and I think it was Wayward Sons into them. And then we got given the slot high up on the bill, and a lot of kind of murmurs were like, who's this band? Why are they there? I mean, yourself and others had seen us earlier to that and kind of seen that we were grafting and you know, going all over the country, whether it be paid or unpaid, we would turn up and do our best, whether it was first on, or I don't think we headlined a show for I don't know how long, like, you know. And it just formed this, like I said, strong bond with our Crow family now, like, you know. And Winter's End is kind of yet again a nice pin in the timeline of where we'll return maybe in February, and it'll be special in Puthcall.
Yeah, that's it. It's just part of that ongoing kind of almost unrelenting evolution and growth.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, like, when we do Winter's End, it's just crazy, because obviously we had the opportunity to play Winter's End, then we headlined Winter's End. Trying to remember my years now. Everything's a bit foggy talking to you today because it's so busy and frantic. No one's spot on with dates, like, but yeah, we headlined the Friday on Winter's End one year, and yeah, it'll be full circle to get to Puthcall this time, and it just be great. It's just great working with Planet Rock. It's great working with John and all the guys there.
Absolutely, yeah.
And it's always fantastic to like return and everybody's happy and you see their faces, and that's what we want to do, is keep creating that buzz, like, you know.
That's it. And you got amazing support from your record label ERA, your management. You look at the tour and you can see the size of the venues is clearly growing. You're starting out in, is it the Netherlands, Nijmegen?
Yes.
And then coming across to the UK, then back out for a couple of cheeky German dates, and finishing up in Paris, I think, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it's beautiful to announce a tour this time where Europe is part of it, because obviously you've seen the last couple of headline tours. It's always predominantly UK, where this is the payoff for like what we've been doing through the summer. And then we do a nice string of European dates on the front end, and then we come over to the UK. All the venues have upgraded. Everything what everybody's asked, we've tried to kind of take care of. Besides playing everybody's backyard, which is really, really hard for any band. You'll never win because, pardon the pun, but you'll never win because you try to do everything you can, and it's really, really hard, and logistically it's hard for the agents and everyone else to make sure everything's in place. But the one thing we've managed to do is upscale everything. And then if everybody buys a ticket, which I believe they are selling very well, then long may it continue, and it'll go in the right direction that everybody wants.
And maybe you will then be able to play Joe Blogg's shed up in wherever it is in North Scotland.
For sure. That's the thing. I mean, you speak to any band, and I think if they're totally honest, it's the fact of you need to get to a level where you can go back and pay off all those people who have been absolutely tremendous to you. And I genuinely feel that we've done everything we can for the last 10 years to please everyone. We just need to keep going. We just genuinely need to keep going, keep putting our heads down. And then fingers crossed those big stages that everybody said in the early days, and they'll all pay off and they'll become a continuous thing. And then you can go off and do those events, like I said to you. And you can make them special events, whether they be small, whether they be big. It doesn't matter, because you're in that position that you can give back as much as you can, so.
And, you've endeared yourself to such a fan base. I mean, it's such a loyal fan base, very passionate. So, it's a two-way relationship, isn't it?
It is a two-way relationship. We're always thinking of that. I mean, we're back on tonight. We're doing a crowcast, and we haven't done one of them for a long time. But the point of that was, it's like with this now, when me and you were chatting, there's so much to unpack. We were like, well, we don't really get a chance to kind of thank everybody after the show all the time, or we just went to Steelhouse now, and like I know myself and Shane stayed there the full weekend. Lloyd came back up. We tried to get out and see as many people as we could and have conversation. I seen you there, and you're trying to put your time in, but it is absolutely solid. So Crowcast is perfect because we did it through COVID. We always said coming out of COVID that we'll do as much as we can to keep in touch. And we have that platform which we've built, and it was our way of doing it, which we can kind of dip in and out of. And no matter how crazy the schedule is, which it is at the moment, we're like, let's do a crowcast. Let's just sit there for a few hours, answering everybody's question, thanking everybody, just putting that time in, like you just said, mate, not forgetting everybody who's kind of put us where we are, so.
Absolute respect to you guys. You're home. Enjoy a few weeks off before the UK tour. We're sadly running out of time here. Ronnie, thank you ever so much.
You're welcome, mate. And thank you, honestly, and thank everybody as well for all the support. But like I said, the work's never over for us, so there's never much rest, because we literally have just got home, and it's the case of Crowcast now. Then we've got the event at the end of the month in Bridgend Brewery Field. And I think we're back in rehearsals tomorrow as well now for the headline tour. So foot's on the gas, mate. We can't stop. We got so much work to do. And I urge every other band to take that ethic as well. And
absolutely.
Hopefully it pays off for everyone like it is for us.
Ronnie, an absolute pleasure as always. Thank you.
Legend, mate. Thank you.